You're listening to the Digital Deep Dive, where we tackle the newest trends, strategies, and pain points shaping growth across the digital landscape. From Amazon and D2C to international expansion, join our host and e-commerce leaders across multiple industries for in-depth discussions on how to maximize your brands in the digital arena. Now, here's your host, Aaron Conant.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Conant, and today we're going to dive into Amazon supply chain. I have a longtime friend, partner, supporter of the network, and a ton of brands in it. Corey Apirian from Davinci Micro Fulfillment. I have him on pretty much anytime questions start popping up around what's going on with anything related to fulfillment or supply chain. He's just all around awesome person. And Corey, thanks for jumping on today. I will have to get over to you if you want to do a brief intro on yourself and Davinci. That would be awesome, and then we kind of jump into the Amazon supply chain topic and everything that means.
Yeah, right back at you, Aaron. Love being here. Love supporting the show. Love supporting you. Thank you for everything, and excited to be on the podcast again. My name is Corey Apirian. I'm the CEO and founder of Davinci Micro Fulfillment. I've spent the past 23 years in everything e-commerce, logistics, and supply chain. Davinci just turned 6, May 1, and we have a network of...
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate that. A physical location network of 6 micro fulfillment centers, miniaturized FCs in hyperlocal areas, backed by our technology that helps us orchestrate, integrate, and manage our brand and clients' inventory positioning, assortment they sell, carrier selection, and endless integrations to really any marketplace in the industry. We do a lot of seller fulfilled prime. We do a lot of direct fulfillment, a lot of one-day TikTok, one-day Shopify, one-day Walmart Marketplace, Walmart Dropship, etc. And we love what we do. We've been working with Amazon, myself and other people on my team for well over 20 years. I was Amazon's first fulfillment provider and had a front row seat to this ecosystem and evolution, from them creating a Prime badge to creating Launchpad to building out their own carrier network, AWS, all these things. So Amazon supply chain is the next evolution of what they've been building. It was only a matter of time before they did this. I think that they have hinted to this over the years, but now that it's launched for good reason, Wall Street Journal and every logistics operator in the industry, every investor, this is all that people have been talking about. So can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, crazy. So for everybody out there, if you're looking for, I would say, the most advanced and cutting edge fulfillment partner, I won't just say like 3PL, but fulfillment partner for all those needs, Corey and his team have built something very, very impressive, working with some pretty impressive brands and partners and friends of the network. So as you build out that strategy and things get more complicated, Corey and I are going to do a follow-up podcast to this one around I want to know if it's around multi-channel fulfillment, but it's going to be also around how can you get the right products at the right place in front of the people at the right time and fulfillment and all of that. So stay tuned. That'll be a future one. But today, let's jump into Amazon supply chain, the news, everything that's breaking, and what people need to know about as a whole. So you want to give people like kind of a background as to kind of what's popped up?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thanks for the kind words there on Davinci. Amazon Supply Chain Services is really a launched opportunity for Amazon to utilize its capacity and network to help anyone in the ecosystem, the world, the US, really manage any aspect of the supply chain as a third-party logistics partner. So that could be freight forwarding, that could be middle mile, that could be storage, that could be fulfillment. It could be shipping master cartons to independent retailers throughout the US. It's not just for fulfillment on Amazon's website like FBA. It's really meant for any channel, any opportunity, any movement or storage of goods. Supply chain management is defined as everything that moves goods and services really from the point of origin to the point of consumption. And really, this is what they're selling. They're selling everything in between those kinks of each chain.
So if we like parse out people, Amazon, AWS, people like it, love it, use it. Amazon Marketplace, businesses that would use a lot of this are kind of hit and miss on their relationship with Amazon as a whole. But when you think about the fulfillment aspect, is this something that people are excited about? Because if they
I
can
think so. I think
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
no. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think brands are watching it closely. They've announced that they've partnered with Procter and Gamble. They've announced a partnership with American Eagle. And American Eagle is an interesting one because they invested in Quiet Logistics as a 3PL to manage their storage and e-commerce fulfillment and store fulfillment and things like that. They acquired them. Quiet Logistics was shut down earlier this year. They suspended and ceased all operations. So this was kind of a natural thing for someone like American Eagle to find not just another third-party logistics partner, but hey, let me go partner with Amazon where there's literally no risk in them, shutting their operations down in the foreseeable future. I mean, anything can happen, but they're probably the least likely candidate next to Walmart out there in the retail ecosystem for that to happen. And you mentioned AWS. Before I get into Procter and Gamble and things like that, and what other brands how they look at it, I just want to point out that this is from the AWS playbook, right? Like they built something that was really powerful for their own purpose. They realized that they had something that other people would want, and that's better than what most other people had built. And now you sit there today, and it's basically, Amazon and Google and Microsoft, right? From like a cloud storage perspective. Yes, there's other people out there, but nobody has the share that those three players do. I think logistics is a little bit different where there's a lot of flavors of opportunities out there of where a brand, supplier, retailer, merchant, anyone that would need some level of storage or movement of goods, where, it's not a one size fits all. So I don't think this is the end of the 3PL logistics ecosystem from that perspective, no matter if you're a freight forwarder, a storage facility, or an e-commerce fulfillment engine. They're not like suggesting that, hey, if you're in our network, you're going to be a 1-day delivery, you're going to be a Amazon Prime fulfillment, you're not going to, you know, there are certain nuances and niches. You're not going to get cold chain. You're not going to get embroidery. You're not going to get, really special kitting. I mean, Amazon just moved all of their prep out of FBA, and on Vendor Central, they have like real chargebacks now and ceasing prep for Vendor Central also. So I can't imagine they're going to open this up now on the logistics side, on the 3PL side, and say, hey, we'll do your prep now. I mean, that'd be kind of funny if they did that, but I think they're still going to have some of those same rules of how you need to get certain products into their building for fulfillment. So, brands, I think, need to be aware of that, or at least the fact that if it's not that, it could change to that at some point. However, if you're looking for one of the strongest logistics leaders, minds, technology stacks, ability to have, some level of forecasting, some level of certainty that your logistics partner is going to be sound in managing your product with like the world's most insanely tightened processes and visibility, right? I think Amazon's a really smart option for some of those things, right? Like,
Yeah. So, you know, if I'm on an e-com, a digital team as a whole, and I'm not they shouldn't be concerned. I mean, you've been on the brand side and with Amazon helping brands out, and from a vendor relationship side, they can be a pain to deal with. They can, and that I think Jeff Bezos set that tone early on when he literally came out and said, "Your margin is my opportunity," which is basically like I'm coming after your margin nonstop, no matter what. And there is some tension between Amazon as a whole and the brands that sell there as they keep taking more and more margin.
and this is a shot to the 3PL community right now of your margin is my opportunity, basically, that Andy Jassy is likely putting down, right? Smartly so. But again, I think it's not a one size fits all world, but it's funny that you bring that up because that is what a lot of us have been talking about.
And then But then from a brand, an e-com, a digital team, you see this in the news. This is something that could be good for you, good for your supply chain, or are you going in there with a hesitancy to leadership team because you know they're out there pitching logistics supply chain teams nonstop right now? I mean, they're going really, really hard, especially you get the logo right in a fashion space and in a CPG space, big ones. You've got those anchors. You show you can do it. Is this something from that's good for brands? I guess like most of the listeners are brands from my.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, listen, they brought on American Eagle, who just exited out of Quiet Logistics, who ceased operations that they had invested in. The appetite for risk was minimal. And then they brought on Procter and Gamble, which from my vantage point is brilliant on Amazon's side, because let me go get the largest CPG brand in the space and put them in my press release, obviously, right? It's not like they said, a startup brand. I don't want to pick on anybody here, but they could have said a $2 million brand, right? They didn't say that. They said Procter and Gamble. I'm assuming that their sales team built some special deal with Procter and Gamble to help them in based on their overall relationship and the amount of volume that runs through Procter and Gamble's network. And there was a very specific opportunity that Procter and Gamble is using Amazon for. It's not their entire global supply chain. They're not replacing that, but they're taking one piece of it and giving it to them, meaning Amazon, to go manage. And I'm sure it's going to work out wonderfully. And if I'm a brand, I'm actually really interested in this. I'm saying, okay, I have a tariff situation or an unknown with the tariff situation. I'm going to go build this item for Amazon or not Amazon. And I need cheap storage and the ability to move it the most cost effective way and, appropriately, right? Where I know it's going to be managed well. I'm gonna look at this and quote it out and see what they can do for me, because I'm not putting all my eggs in this basket. But this particular opportunity, I need to front load these 30 containers for peak season. Maybe this is a smart play for me to do that, or maybe they can get better rates on ocean freight that I can, or maybe they can move through the middle mile because they're already moving all these things. And if they can cut out cost and make things easier for brands, why wouldn't you look at it? It's not multi-channel fulfillment where you're putting 100% of your eggs into a basket and you're forced to sell the same items to every marketplace. This is meant to be somewhat independent. I will say that the obvious thing that brands would say, like, I don't want Amazon to know what I'm doing at Walmart. I sort of feel like that ship has sailed a little bit, and like they already do. So, yes, you have to be careful of that, but data is just so out there these days that I don't know if that's the biggest concern that I would. Yeah, they already see what's going on. They have algorithms scraping. They walk into the stores. They know what's happening out there.
Do you remember Spencer Millerberg? He's at Detail Page now, but his one-click retail, when I was at Perigo, he did an analysis and he was within just a couple units of what I was selling on a monthly basis. How accurate he was. And that was 12 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And that's what he built independently. And we're not even talking about what Amazon has built internally to understand total, I would say, not just online market share, but retailer total market share, plus all the extra data you can buy out there on it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're right. They already know. If you're a brand concerned that Amazon's going to figure out your size of your Walmart business, yeah.
They already know. They already know. And the other thing too is, like, I think Amazon would jeopardize this entire program if they went to a brand and said, "Hey, Procter and Gamble, like, I saw you run this promotion. I'm dropping the buy box down on this ASIN, and I have all your other inventory in these buildings completely separate. I'm going to hold you hostage." Like, I have a really hard time foreseeing that type of thing happening. That's fear. Right. But I think the interesting thing here, though, is that you are seeing a second act of certain companies build the capacity before they have the volume, which is interesting. Amazon has capacity. They've built out same day facilities. They've built out Prime now. They've built out this regional fulfillment model. They're pushing a lot of items into logistics partners like myself for prime, for non-sort type items, oversized type items, hazmat items, cold chain items. Like they're forcing their brands to do the prep before it comes in. So like they're being very smart about their capacity and their utilization. And I think they're taking that capacity with their own carriers and their own facilities, and they're selling it because it's valuable out there, and they'll grow as they go. I think Quiet Logistics and Exol is another automation company that the founder of CNS Wholesale built, and these are like fully automated robotic facilities across the U.S. and it's completely impressive what they've done, and they're really, really a powerhouse in the fulfillment arena, and people aren't talking about it as much right now. But I do think that's something to watch, right? Because it'll be interesting to see if brands just go with an Amazon for that type of infrastructure for fully automated, fully low cost provider. I mean, I think what Amazon's going to sell is not a specialized service. I think they're going to sell a commoditized product, and they're going to be very competitive against that type of partner, against the GXOs of the world, against the like that class of global third party logistics company.
Yeah, it's just interesting because it seems like there's a lot of like reduction in the huge, and maybe this is true, but it seems like Amazon built out a huge amount of capacity on the, the that final mile, right? Delivery to end consumer. They built
Yes.
up, and then the massive ones have shrunk, and they're going to more, distributed logistics, like closer to endpoint, so they can do same day, one day, and so brands are struggling with overall capacity and how much they can actually have in any individual fulfillment center because they've shrunk down.
Right.
And this is ahead of that in the supply chain line, right? This is before that.
Yeah, this is more first mile versus last mile.
Yeah.
But includes last mile opportunities also. And they are investing heavily. They divested out of advertising and marketing and invested heavily right into what it feels like from like the layoffs that they had in the past year and everything like that, heavily invested into ATS and ships with Amazon. And there's been a lot of news about UPS pulling back a little bit with them, and post office ending the contract, but post office contract got rebuilt very recently with them for some of the rural type zip codes, outlier zip codes out there. And their rates are very strong, and they don't promise a prime delivery with those their own carrier. They promise today a 3 to 5 day delivery in most zones. They might under promise, over deliver. Their cost structure is very competitive. They have a quality service, and that's in early innings. And I think there's a direct combination and correlation to what they're doing here. And to your point, they're trying to fill this capacity now, and they have it. It's unused, it's underutilized to some degree, which is interesting to say from Amazon's perspective. But I think they'll be able to sell it. I just don't think that it's going to wipe out the entire third party logistics environment. And I don't think there's going to be three players left like Azure, Google, and AWS, of course, from that comparison. But there are, I think, some 30, 40,000 third party logistics companies in the US. Not all of them do e-commerce fulfillment. Not all of them do middle mile and trucking. Not all of them do storage, right? And a small percentage is cold chain, and a small percentage is embroidery, and there's specialized services and things like that, right? So they're just going to become another player in that space, and they're going to grow very quickly there. But it's something to consider if you're a brand. There's no question.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that comes up right now is profitability, and
It has to be. I mean, look at freight where it is, and fuel surcharges just at the minimum. And I think that's where Amazon has a leg to stand on. But just like you can't give everything to one retailer, you can't give everything to one carrier, you can't give everything, to one 3PL partner, in many cases. I think brands have to really be smart about how they diversify, and they need to understand that strategy. They need the internal teams to be able to support that type of diversification. They need the technology and visibility to support it also. And these are all really important things. I mean, AI and other tools out there are making that faster in the industry, and brands have a lower barrier to entry to acquire visibility. But it is probably one of the most important things is that diversification and visibility strategy right now.
Yeah, what do you see brands doing? You deal with a ton of brands too and chat with them all the time. Like, what does the next level of profitability look like? We'll say at the marketplace level in the last mile. And is it kitting? Is it bundling? Is it product selection? Is it everybody's trying to figure that out right now? And it was all fun and games until about a year and a half ago. And now people are really trying to figure it out. It's not spend at all cost. Like, what do you see the winning brands do from, because I mean, you're fulfilling everything. You see stuff goes to Walmart, Target, TikTok, Amazon, whoever, wherever. Like, what do you see brands doing? Like the winning brands, the ones that are doing it well.
Yeah, I think there's a real tailwind behind, carrier diversification and, inventory decentralization and building networks the right way. I think, when it comes to advertising, I think most brands have that fairly down pat. I think understanding product selection and assortment by channel and how to make that inventory stretch further in a more lean, just-in-time environment and getting it closer to a customer, whether it's in an Amazon FC, a Walmart FC, and a logistics partner using technology to string different logistics partners together, which, to me, I don't personally think that's the right move, but I've seen some people be successful in that. And it depends the category and product that you're servicing ultimately. But I do see that being the next playing field right now. And selfishly, I think Davinci's poised really well to support a lot of that. I think that's where it has to be. Brands need to know how to sell to Amazon and Shopify and TikTok. They need to know how to support Amazon and Walmart and TikTok, direct to store, direct to consumer, direct to FC.
And that's where you come in.
That's where Davinci comes in. Yes.
Okay. And then brands, they want to find you, Corey. Website.
Corey, COREYA at DaVinciMFC.com. And then my website has a contact us form, LinkedIn. Always try to talk out there and, love warm introductions from BWG and the like, of course.
Awesome. Well, Corey, this has been awesome. Anyway, you're out there listening. So Corey Apirian, Davinci Microfulfillment, the leaders in this space of, I would say, like the next era of what fulfillment needs to look like from marketplace, direct consumer, all the different ones that are popping up. The ability to make the right offer with the right product, the right kit, the right bundle, whatever it might be. Corey's the guy. And just an all-around great friend. So, Corey, thanks so much for your time today. With that, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Digital Deep Dive. Thanks, everybody, for listening in.